Behind the steamy limo scenes and Cold War intrigue of this Kevin Costner thriller lurk some bizarre secrets. A tragic death before release, an Oscar-winning cinematographer's final film, a future senator playing a CIA director, Brad Pitt hiding in the background, and a Polaroid camera that couldn't possibly work the way the plot required. Here are 15 weird facts you didn't know about No Way Out. Fact 1. The script was rejected 9 times as implausible screenwriter. Robert Garland's script for No Way Out had a rough journey to the big screen, spending nearly a decade collecting rejection letters before anyone would take a chance on it. Between 1977 and 1986, 6 major movie studios and 3 television networks all passed on the project, with executives repeatedly citing the same reason: they found the plot too implausible to believe. The original script, which Garland initially titled Finished with Engines, was announced by B&B Associates in November of 1977, with plans to begin filming in spring or summer of 1978, but that production never materialized. For 9 long years, Garland's screenplay gathered dust as Hollywood gatekeepers dismissed the idea of a naval officer investigating a murder while simultaneously being the primary suspect, all while a mythical Soviet mole named Yuri loomed in the background. The twist ending, which reveals that the protagonist actually is the Soviet spy, was apparently too far-fetched for most studio executives to swallow. Finally, in 1986, Orion Pictures executive producer Mace Neufeld saw potential in the complex thriller and greenlit the production. The irony, of course, is that the film went on to earn critical acclaim and box office success, with Roger Ebert awarding it 4 out of 4 stars and calling it truly labyrinthine and ingenious. The movie grossed $35.5 million against a $15 million budget and currently holds a 92% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, proving that sometimes the most implausible stories make the best thrillers. Fact 2. The film was dedicated to a legendary cinematographer who died. No Way Out carries a somber dedication at the end of its credits. This film is dedicated to the memory of John Alcott, BSc. The British cinematographer, who was only 55 years old, died of a massive heart attack while on vacation in Cannes, France, on July 28, 1986, just weeks after principal photography wrapped in late June. Alcott was one of the most celebrated cinematographers in cinema history, having won an Academy Award for his breathtaking work on Barry Lyndon in 1975, where he famously shot entire scenes lit only by candlelight using special NASA lenses. He had worked closely with director Stanley Kubrick on 4 films: 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, and The Shining. 3 of Alcott's films were ranked in the top 20 of best shot films between 1950 and 1997 by the American Society of Cinematographers. The British Society of Cinematographers later created the BSc John Alcott ARRI Award in his honor to recognize excellence in lighting cinematography. Director Roger Donaldson had specifically sought out Alcott for No Way Out because he wanted that same visual elegance and technical mastery that Alcott brought to his previous work. At the time of his death, Alcott was considered one of the film industry's great artist technicians, someone who pushed the boundaries of what was technically possible while serving the aesthetic needs of the story. The film stands as a testament to his talent and his final gift to cinema. Fact 3. The limo driver was a real limo driver. When director Roger Donaldson needed someone to play the limousine driver in the film's most famous scene, he didn't call a casting agency or hold auditions. Instead, he hired the actual limousine driver who had picked him up from the airport when he first flew into Washington, D.C. to scout locations for the movie. This casting choice brings an authentic touch to the steamy sequence where Kevin Costner's Commander Farrell and Sean Young's Susan Atwell engage in a passionate encounter while being driven past the Washington Monument and Lincoln Memorial. The decision to use a real driver rather than a professional actor fits perfectly with Donaldson's approach to adding realism throughout the production. In fact, Donaldson employed this same strategy elsewhere in the film, casting an actual cab driver to play the taxi driver who drops Farrell off at the airport in an earlier scene. This technique of casting non-actors in small but visible roles has a long history in filmmaking, as real people often bring a natural quality that trained actors sometimes struggle to replicate. The limo driver didn't need to deliver complex dialogue or carry emotional weight in the scene. He simply needed to look like someone who drives a limousine for a living, which of course he did. His presence adds a layer of authenticity to what became one of the most talked about scenes in the film, even though his role was minimal and he received no formal credit for his appearance. Fact 4. Brad Pitt appeared as an uncredited extra. Long before Brad Pitt became one of Hollywood's biggest stars, he was just another struggling actor taking any work he could get, including background roles that paid little and offered no recognition. In 1987, at the age of 23, Pitt appeared as an uncredited party guest in No Way Out during the presidential inaugural ball scene where Kevin Costner's character first meets Sean Young's character. This was one of Pitt's very first film appearances, coming during a period when he was taking acting classes from Coach Roy London and working multiple uncredited extra roles to gain experience and earn money. That same year, Pitt also appeared as an uncredited extra in 2 other films, No Man's Land and Less Than Zero. Pitt can allegedly be spotted in the background of the lavish party scene at the Omni Shorium Hotel, though his appearance is so brief and he's so far in the background that even dedicated fans have difficulty confirming which partygoer is actually him. Within just a few years, however, Pitt's career would explode after his memorable role as a cowboy hitchhiker in Thelma and Louise in 1991, leading to starring roles in films like A River Runs Through It, Legends of the Fall, and Seven. The fact that a future Academy Award winner and one of the world's most recognizable movie stars once stood anonymously in the background of this Cold War thriller adds an amusing footnote to the film's history and shows just how far Pitt traveled from his humble beginnings as Hollywood atmosphere. Fact 5. Kevin Costner, improvised key limo dialogue. One of the most memorable moments in the film's famous limousine scene wasn't in the original script at all, but came from Kevin Costner's spontaneous creativity during filming. When Costner's character and Sean Young's character climb into the back of the limousine and begin their romantic encounter, Costner improvised the dialogue where he asks the driver to raise the sliding privacy partition between the front and back seats. The line wasn't scripted, but director Roger Donaldson immediately recognized that it worked better than what had been written. The improvised moment added a layer of authenticity and naturalness to the scene, because it's exactly what someone in that situation would actually do, and the other actors' reactions to Costner's unexpected dialogue felt genuine and unforced rather than rehearsed. Donaldson made the decision on the spot to keep the improvised version in the final cut of the film. This kind of on-set improvisation can be risky because it requires the director to recognize what's working in real time and the other actors to roll with unexpected changes. But when it succeeds, it often results in moments that feel more organic than carefully scripted dialogue. The limousine scene, which plays out to Paul Anka's title song as the vehicle drives past iconic Washington monuments, became one of the most discussed aspects of No Way Out upon its release, with many reviewers and audiences citing it as a standout sequence. The fact that a key element of this memorable scene came from Costner's instincts, rather than the screenplay, demonstrates the collaborative nature of filmmaking. Fact 6. Costner rolled over a moving car, despite insurance protests. Kevin Costner performed most of his own stunts throughout No Way Out, but one particular stunt during a chase sequence caused serious alarm among the film's producers and insurance company. During the filming of a chase scene, Costner actually rolled over the hood of a moving car, executing the dangerous maneuver himself, rather than letting a trained stunt double handle it. According to the film's original press materials, an insurance executive approached director Roger Donaldson immediately after witnessing the stunt and delivered an emphatic warning: "Don't you ever, ever, ever do that again." The insurance company's concern was entirely justified from a business perspective, as the film's entire production could have been jeopardized if its leading actor had been seriously injured or killed performing such a risky stunt. If Costner had been hurt, the production would have faced massive delays, potential lawsuits, and the enormous expense of either recasting the role or shutting down completely. Insurance policies for major motion pictures specifically account for these risks, and premiums increase when lead actors insist on doing their own stunts. Despite the stern warning from the insurance executive, Costner continued to perform many of his own stunts throughout the production, driven by a desire to bring authenticity to the action sequences. He even drove vehicles during high-speed chase scenes without wearing his prescription glasses, another decision that made the insurance company nervous. Costner's commitment to physical performance would become a hallmark of his career in action films, though it frequently put him at odds with the financial professionals responsible for protecting the production's investment. Fact 7. The Polaroid camera creates an impossible plot hole. Film buffs and photography enthusiasts have long pointed out a significant technical error at the heart of No Way Out's central mystery. The entire plot hinges on a crucial piece of evidence: a Polaroid negative found at the murder scene that shows Kevin Costner's character in a romantic moment. The Pentagon's computer experts spend the film slowly enhancing this blurry negative to reveal the face of the supposed killer. However, there's a major problem with this scenario that undermines the entire premise. The Polaroid camera shown being used in the bedroom scene is an SX70 model, which was designed to automatically eject the finished print out the front of the camera. This type of Polaroid uses integral film where the image develops inside the print itself, meaning there is no separate negative to discard or leave behind. The plot requires a peel-apart negative from an older type of Polaroid camera that used a different film system where you manually pulled the film pack out and then peeled apart the positive print from a negative backing. There is simply no way the evidence could exist as depicted if an SX70 camera was used. This represents more than just a minor continuity error. It's a fundamental impossibility that makes the entire murder investigation storyline technically impossible. Movie audiences in 1987, before the digital photography revolution, would have been more likely to notice this mistake, as Polaroid cameras were common household items, and many people understood how the different models worked. Fact 8. The Georgetown Metro Station doesn't exist. One of the film's most exciting chase sequences contains a glaring geographical impossibility that Washington, D.C. residents immediately spotted when the movie was released. During a climactic pursuit, Kevin Costner's character runs along the historic C&O Canal towpath and then ducks into what's marked as the Georgetown Metro Station to escape his pursuers. The only problem is that Georgetown doesn't have a metro station and never has. This isn't a small mistake. It's actually a long-standing point of pride and frustration for Georgetown residents who have lobbied for decades to get a metro stop in their historic neighborhood without success. The entrance that Costner runs into was actually the canal-side entrance to shops at Georgetown Park, which was located at 3222 M Street Northwest. The filmmakers simply relabeled the mall entrance to make it look like a subway station for the movie. No filming actually took place inside the Georgetown Park Mall itself. Once Costner disappears down the steps, the action cuts to a completely different location. The absence of a Georgetown Metro stop is such a well-known fact to locals that the film's error has become something of a running joke in Washington, D.C., even being referenced in lists of Hollywood's biggest Washington movie mistakes. The movie Axios Washington, D.C. later investigated why Georgetown still doesn't have a metro station, debunking the urban legend that wealthy Georgetown residents blocked it. The real reasons involved concerns about construction affecting historic buildings and questions about ridership numbers. Fact 9. They used Baltimore trains for Washington scenes. The metro chase sequence in No Way Out contains another layer of geographical deception beyond the non-existent Georgetown station. Once Kevin Costner's character descends into the subway system, viewers see him boarding a train and navigating through stations to escape his pursuers. But observant viewers from the Washington, D.C. area noticed something was off about those trains. The metro cars shown in the film are actually from Baltimore's metro system, not Washington's metro system, which has a distinctly different appearance. The filmmakers shot the subway interior scenes at the Charles Center station in Baltimore, making no attempt to disguise the Baltimore Metro cars or make them look like Washington Metro trains. At the time of filming in 1986, the Washington Metro system was completely off-limits to movie makers, forcing the production to find an alternative location for these crucial sequences. The Baltimore Metro subway system, which had only opened in 1983 and expanded in 1987, was more accommodating to film productions. The Baltimore system is much smaller than Washington's Metro, consisting of only 14 stations and many locals who ride it regularly immediately recognize their subway system masquerading as Washington's famous Metro. The next time Costner emerges from underground in the film, he's suddenly in a completely different DC location with no explanation for how he traveled there. The scene works for viewers unfamiliar with either city's transit systems, but for locals from Baltimore or Washington, these geographical liberties are hilariously impossible to ignore. Fact 10. Future Senator Fred Thompson. Played the CIA director years before Fred Thompson became a United States Senator representing Tennessee, he appeared in No Way Out playing CIA Director Marshall, a role that seems almost prophetic given his later political career. Thompson's path to both acting and politics was unusual and interconnected. He first came to national attention in 1973 as the Republican minority counsel during the Senate Watergate Committee hearings, where his questioning helped reveal crucial evidence about President Nixon's knowledge of the cover-up. Thompson later worked as an attorney and in 1985 played himself in the film Marie, portraying his own role as the lawyer for Marie Ruggianti in her wrongful termination case. Director Roger Donaldson was impressed by Thompson's natural screen presence in Marie and cast him in No Way Out in 1987. Thompson's commanding presence and authoritative demeanor made him a natural fit for governmental and military roles. In 1994, 7 years after No Way Out was released, Thompson successfully ran for the U.S. Senate to fill the seat vacated when Al Gore became vice president. Thompson campaigned memorably in a red pickup truck and won by a landslide. He served in the Senate until 2003, working on campaign finance reform and serving on several important committees. Thompson would later become even more famous for his role as District Attorney Arthur Branch on the television series Law and Order, proving equally comfortable in courtrooms, both real and fictional. Fact 11. Gene Hackman essentially reprised this role 10 years later. Gene Hackman's performance as Secretary of Defense, David Bryce in No Way Out, apparently made such an impression that Hollywood asked him to play an almost identical character a decade later. In 1997's Absolute Power, directed by Clint Eastwood, Hackman portrayed President Alan J. Richmond, a powerful government official who accidentally kills a woman during a violent sexual encounter and then orchestrates an elaborate cover-up to protect himself. The parallels between the two roles are striking. Both involve respected men in the highest levels of government who accidentally cause a woman's death in a moment of rage or passion. Both rely on loyal subordinates to clean up the mess and deflect suspicion. And both films revolve around an investigation that threatens to expose the truth. Film critics and reviewers specifically noted the similarity, with some observing that Hackman's character in Absolute Power felt like a continuation of the same type of morally compromised authority figure he portrayed in No Way Out. In both films, Hackman brings a mixture of charm and weakness to these characters, making them neither purely evil villains nor sympathetic victims, but rather flawed men who make terrible choices and then compound those mistakes with cover-ups. The fact that Hackman could play essentially the same role 10 years apart and make both performances memorable speaks to his skill as an actor. Some reviewers even joked that Secretary Bryce had apparently worked his way up to the presidency. Fact 12. Costner performed stunts without his glasses. Kevin Costner's commitment to performing his own stunts in No Way Out extended beyond the dangerous car role that alarmed insurance executives. Throughout the film's various chase sequences and action scenes, Costner drove vehicles at high speeds despite needing prescription glasses to see clearly. The film's insurance company was already nervous about Costner's insistence on doing his own stunts, but the revelation that he was performing these stunts without proper vision correction added another layer of concern for the people responsible for protecting the production's financial investment. Driving without necessary corrective lenses isn't just risky from a safety standpoint. In most jurisdictions, it's actually illegal if your license requires corrective lenses. The insurance company's dismay was entirely justified, as an accident caused by Costner's impaired vision during a stunt sequence could have resulted in serious injury to him or other cast and crew members, damaged expensive equipment, destroyed practical locations, and potentially exposed the production to liability lawsuits. Despite these concerns, Costner apparently believed that removing his glasses was necessary for authenticity, either because he felt they would be visible on camera or because he wanted to maintain the appearance of his character during the action sequences. This decision fits with Costner's overall approach to the role, where he consistently pushed for maximum realism in his physical performance. The combination of Costner's various risky choices during production likely gave the film's producers and insurance representatives many sleepless nights during the shoot. Fact 13. Sean Young was comfortable. Costner was nervous. The famous limousine scene and other intimate moments in No Way Out required actress Sean Young to appear nude on camera. But according to interviews, the person who felt uncomfortable during these scenes wasn't Young herself. In interviews given around the time of the film's release, Young revealed that while she was perfectly fine being naked during the filming of these scenes, Kevin Costner, who remained fully clothed throughout, was actually very nervous about her nudity. This reversal of expected reactions provides an interesting glimpse into the dynamics of filming intimate scenes and the different ways actors approach vulnerable moments on screen. Young's comfort level suggests a professional confidence in her choices and an understanding that the scenes serve the story's romantic and dramatic purposes. Costner's nervousness, despite being the clothed actor in the situation, shows a considerate awareness of his co-star's vulnerability that speaks well of his character. Many actors find filming intimate scenes to be among the most challenging aspects of their work, not because of their own nudity, but because of the awkwardness of creating artificial intimacy with a colleague while surrounded by dozens of crew members operating cameras and lights. The contrast between Young's confidence and Costner's discomfort also challenges traditional gender assumptions about who feels more self-conscious in such situations. Their strong on-screen chemistry in the film's romantic scenes suggests that whatever nervousness existed behind the scenes didn't prevent them from creating believable moments of passion that served the story effectively. Fact 14. The film's release was strategically delayed. Although Kevin Costner filmed No Way Out before he shot The Untouchables, audiences saw the movies in reverse order due to a calculated business decision by Orion Pictures. The studio executives made a strategic choice to hold No Way Out back from its planned release date and wait until after Brian De Palma's big-budget gangster drama The Untouchables hit theaters on June 6, 1987. Orion's reasoning was straightforward. They wanted to capitalize on the publicity and star-making buzz that The Untouchables was expected to generate for Costner, who played legendary lawman Elliot Ness in that film. A March 1, 1987 article in the Los Angeles Times explained that Orion hoped The Untouchables would heat his public image and increase ticket sales for No Way Out. The strategy paid off brilliantly. The Untouchables was a major critical and commercial success, earning nearly $77 million at the domestic box office, and establishing Costner as a leading man. By the time No Way Out opened on August 14, 1987, Costner's stock had risen considerably. No Way Out debuted at number 2 at the box office with $4.3 million in its opening weekend and went on to earn $35.5 million total, well above its $15 million budget. The delayed release meant that 1987 became a breakthrough year for Costner with 2 successful films, and the one-two punch of The Untouchables followed by No Way Out launched him into the top tier of Hollywood leading men. Fact 15. A wheelchair featured a hilarious hidden joke. Among the many details packed into No Way Out's Pentagon scenes, one small prop contains a darkly funny joke that most viewers never notice computer. Expert Sam Hesselman, played by George Zunza, uses a wheelchair throughout the film, and affixed to the back of the wheelchair's seat is a bright red bumper sticker with an ironic message. "Of course I'm drunk. I'm no stunt driver." The humorous sticker suggests a person with a self-deprecating sense of humor about their disability, implying that any erratic driving in the wheelchair can be blamed on intoxication rather than poor coordination. The joke becomes considerably darker when you consider Hesselman's fate in the film. The character is murdered by Will Patton's villainous Scott Pritchard after Hesselman reveals that the slowly developing Polaroid photograph shows Kevin Costner's character as the supposed killer. Pritchard shoots Hesselman in cold blood to prevent him from sharing this information, making him a victim of the cover-up conspiracy. The cheerful bumper sticker on the wheelchair of a character who meets such a grim end adds an unintentionally morbid layer to the prop choice. Whether the sticker was suggested by the actor, chosen by the props department, or approved by director Roger Donaldson, it represents the kind of small background detail that rewards attentive viewers who pause and read everything visible on screen. This type of Easter egg has become more common in modern films, but in 1987, such hidden jokes were less frequent.